Welcome back to the Charter Podcast, brought to you by St. Xavier University. 𝗤𝗂 𝗠𝗶𝗟, 𝗦𝗂 back with you, and we are just hours, about just under 12 hours out of the Bears' full schedule reveal. We are going to break this whole thing down for you today, guys. I think there's a lot to get to. We're going to talk about sort of our general topics, general thoughts when looking at this schedule, just sort of the things I think that jumped out at us right away when we kind of wrote it all down and got to look at it like on paper. I think that's always really interesting. We knew this was going to be a tough schedule, especially on the road. We knew it coming into this because we had the schedule. Now seeing who they play, when and where and what time of year, things can change. So we're going to break it all down for you. First of all, guys, I think we have to start with the videos, all the social media videos. I am obsessed. And the three of us, I know we will all be on the same page here because we're all people who love the show Severance. Did you watch the Ravens schedule reveal, Clay? You look like you haven't.
I didn't watch the Ravens schedule reveal.
It's all Severance based. You got to watch it. Oh, man.
Did they have like Severance characters in there?
No, it was just they were in Severance. It was so good. I was like,
I'm going to go watch it after this.
Do we have dulcet piano tones?
It's so good, you guys. I can't wait for you to see it. Like,
how did I miss that one?
They have goats. They have, oh my God, it's unbelievable. You got to go watch it. And they do a great job. I was like, how did they get the rights to do this? It was incredible. What'd you guys think of the Bears reveal video?
That was very cute. It was fun. I have seen a couple episodes of the New Girl now, and I recognized like, oh, New Girl people. That guy, we've had him on television programs of our own before because he's a big Bears fan. So that was fun going around, seeing all the different cameos, Charles Tillman, destroying the files. Some guys were really good actors. Some guys not so much. Was it Grady Jarrett? I was like, oh yeah, you're really
he was into it.
You're really into it. You're giving me confused, unexpected wow as I'm looking at the schedule. So bravo to the players who bought in, who delivered the goods.
Caleb and Rome were great, I thought.
Caleb and Rome were great. It was fun.
What'd you think, Clay?
I would tell you my opinion, but I also did not watch the Bears schedule release video.
Oh, God, sorry, Clay. I should have reminded you.
I just looked at the games and started diving right into the games. Clay's
like, I'm all ball.
All ball, baby. It's like, what am I watching here? It looks fun. I know the fans love it, and it's good to see the guys' personalities. Like you said, there's some actors out there, and I'm going to go watch it after this just because now I feel bad for not watching it.
No, you're
fine. We'll probably talk about it today on the Big Pro Football Show as well. So I'm going to get to some work and watching some schedule reveals.
I'll put two more on your plate, Clay. I got to watch the Ravens one for Severance. I'm going to put two more on your plate. The Titans did a prescription drug song and dance routine because we all know the prescription drug song and dance commercial. So they schedule 𝗁𝗂. It was very good, very clever,
really funny.
And then the Vikings apparently got people to get tattoos of the schedule. So they got like tattoo versions of like a grater grating cheese. They got tattoo versions of like a little lion playing with a ball of yarn. A Seahawk, stuff of that nature. So bravo, Vikings fans getting inked up for a schedule reveal video.
Okay. The winner who takes the cake every year, the Chargers. I don't know if you guys saw it was all Minecraft. They had Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz fighting at the combine. They had so many little troll moments of all the teams. It was phenomenal. Their social media team is elite. The one thing about the Bears video, Alex, I'm like, I don't know if I just am like, they didn't tell you the schedule in the
They did not. It just was the schedule at the end, which some teams do. There's like two schools of thought. It's like going through the video, leaking the things, and then some just have like a cute little skit. Yeah. And then here's the schedule at the end. So the Bears went that route. it's like, who cares?
Right.
Everybody has seen the schedule before the video is released anyways.
Right. So true. Okay.
Yeah.
Enough of that nonsense. Because it is what it is. Let's get into the schedule. Clay, we'll start with you since you couldn't give us much there on the videos. What are your initial takeaways when you looked at the schedule just on paper and kind of got to go through it?
You were talking about how hard the road schedule is, Ruthie. You know, the 9 road opponents, 6 had winning records in 2024, including the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, I mean, that's pretty tough there. The bye week's kind of late or early, excuse me. I'm not sure that I love that. You know, typically you like to get through a little bit of the season, have a bye week, come back and grind it out through the season. The Bears will only play 3 home games from week 4 to week 14 before finishing their final 3 of their final 4 at Soldier Field. So that stretch right there, you only have 3 home games. That's the meat of the schedule right there. That's your steak right there. You know, the potatoes, maybe the beginning, the end there, but that meat of your schedule right there is tough. And I always have to look at it as a player too. You know, obviously we know their strength of schedule is the second hardest in the league according to last year's statistics and projected win totals, 2 different metrics. For me, I look at when they play certain teams. I was just talking to you guys about this as a player. First thing everybody did, and it wasn't just me, we wanted to see when, you know, Sam in Jacksonville. If we're at home, I love it. You know, I don't want to go to Chicago late in the season. I don't want to go to Green Bay late in the season. If we go to Indy, cool. You know, our division, that's a dome. You know, it just depends where you're going. So for me, I look at when you're playing teams, where you're playing them, because that's something that always matters to players. Playing cold weather, is it going to be the elements, whatever, we're going to be playing inside. So that's something interesting. You know, 3 of their last 4 games are at home. And then they got their at Philly. You got you're at 49ers, so you're out there in some better weather there. But when you break down the schedule itself, guys, and I mean, we're going to talk about this a lot, but it looks like a grind. It's a tough schedule, and I think you got to get out the gates hot because things are going to get tough early.
Alex, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's you just look at the middle of that schedule, and I'm going to underline what Clay was saying about the meat there. From week 6, I'll discount the Vegas game because that's before the bye, but from week 6 to week 14, that's 9 games. 6 of those 9 games at the Washington Commanders, at the Baltimore Ravens, at the Cincinnati Bengals, at the Minnesota Vikings, at the Philadelphia Eagles, at the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that's a murderer's row under the best of circumstances. And to have all of those games packed in 9 weeks, I mean, that is a gauntlet. Commanders went to the NFC title game. The Ravens, perennial Super Bowl contenders. The Bengals were down last year, but that felt like an aberration. The Bengals are a good team, and Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. With Jamar Chase, you know, one of the best receivers in the league. At Minnesota, always tough. You know, the Bears and Minnesota have played each other pretty well, but they have had some tough games at Minnesota where they have been unable to do a lot offensively because Brian Flores has that great defense. And I know Caleb Williams did pretty well against Brian Flores. I'm getting
that's a tough place to play.
It's a tough place to play. At Philadelphia, defending Super Bowl champions. We don't need to say much more on the road. And then, as Clay said, at Green Bay, the beginning of December, another tough place to play. So when I look at that, Bears better win early. When you're looking versus Minnesota, you want to start the year with a win against J.J. McCarthy, rookie quarterback. Hopefully you get a win. And then at Detroit versus the Cowboys at Las Vegas. Among those games, you really want to find 3 wins heading into that bye week because coming out of the bye week, it's tough sledding.
Yeah, I think you can convince yourself for a lot of these wins. I think you can convince yourself that they're going to lose a lot of these games. I looked at this schedule and I said, oh boy, buckle up. It's going to be a roller coaster and it could get ugly. But it could be a lot of fun. And it could come down to the final weeks of this game, the final weeks of the season, to see where the Chicago Bears land in the division, if they land in the postseason. I think it could go any way. That's really how I feel about this year. Looking at the beginning of the schedule, guys, you're going to be lucky to go 2-2 before the bye, is sort of how I feel. You can convince yourself, Alex, that J.J. McCarthy, first game, debut, it's going to be tough. Here come the Bears. Don't forget, the Bears have a new system on both sides of the ball. How much are we going to see of the Chicago Bears in 2025? How much of what they're going to look like are we going to get to see and preview in the preseason? Probably not much. So there are pros and cons to that, right? Brian Flores has no idea what this offense is going to look like. With that being said, does Brian Flores care what this offense looks like? He's just going to blitz. So we're going to let that, that first Monday night game, I think, is really a coin toss about what that's going to look like. I do like that it's at home on Monday Night Football. I think there's going to be a lot of juice around the season, and the Bears fans are, they're going to show up for that one. It'll be a great atmosphere. But then your first game against the Detroit Lions is in Detroit on a short week to start the year. I mean, that's how you start. 2 division opponents, Brian Flores defense, J.J. McCarthy question mark going up against the Detroit Lions on a short week in Detroit. I do like that you're going to Detroit early in the year before maybe anyone knows what what this is really going to look like yet. And we know Ben Johnson loves to kind of change it up. He's never going to show you the whole playbook because he has something else coming the next week. So that's what we love about him. But I like that you're getting sort of that Ben Johnson revenge game out of the way, because that's going to be a huge storyline, Ben Johnson back in Detroit, don't you think? And then you're also getting out of the way the Matt Eberflus revenge game with Matt Eberflus coming to Chicago. All those storylines, kind of all the drama, get it out of the way early. And then we can play some ball. The Raiders, I kind of had marked off on my sheet before I saw the schedule as okay, they can win that game on the road. But now I'm sort of thinking about it. I'm like, they're going to be good. That's a good team. They have a quarterback. They have the running back. They have Pete Carroll. That's going to be a hard game to win. So those 4 games, I think the one I feel the best about is Dallas, right? That's probably, but even still, it's still Dak Prescott. And we know Matt Eberflus is a good defensive coordinator.
Dak Prescott now with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
We don't know what the coach is going to be like, all those things. Sure, there are question marks around every team heading into the every NFL season. But those first 4 games I'm looking at, you guys are saying you better start fast. It's
Let the good times cruise at the Crosstown Classic with Sun Cruiser and CHSN, May 16th to the 18th. CHSN is rolling into Wrigleyville, so don't miss your chance to win free prizes and enjoy ice-cold Sun Cruisers. Follow Sun Cruiser and CHSN now to find out where we'll be before first pitch.
You need to be 3-1. You need to be 3-1 heading into that bye week, because it's obviously those first few games are really hard, but when you look at the schedule, it doesn't get much easier.
Right.
It's just consistently getting harder. They face 5 teams that made the postseason, including the Eagles during the second half of the season. So that's going to get tough. Raiders, Cowboys, Lions, Vikings. This is interesting. Ben Johnson scored 31 points twice on the Vikings last year, beat them twice. Okay, different teams, but maybe Ben Johnson knows how to attack this Vikings defense. I'm trying to talk myself into it, Ruthie. Like you're saying, I think JJ, people, it's his first game action. Yeah, he's not really a rookie. People are calling him a rookie because he didn't play, but he was in the system. He's not actually learning a new system this year. It's his first time playing. That first game is going to be tough, but at home, you hope maybe they can pull that one off. Lions, Ford Field. See, that's going to be a tough one. Ben Johnson going back to Detroit. I don't know how that's a noon game right there. It just normal standard game. Cowboys, like you said, Dak, the 325 on Sunday. I mean, George Pickens out there now. It's going to be, you got to figure out a way to at least go 2-2, but you got to try to go 3-1 here because you're coming back. Commanders NFC Championship game. Okay, maybe the Saints are the easiest game on your schedule, but then you're right at the Ravens. You're right at the Bengals. So I mean, that's getting tough.
Tough. That Ravens Bengals back to back is brutal. Absolutely brutal. I mean, there's no way around that. You do get to come home and host the Giants. That's probably your easiest game.
Shedeur? Is Shedeur going to be? No, I mean Jackson Dart playing by then.
Yes, right? Well, that's the question, right? We don't know. That's probably, and also, I mean, that coaching staff, I think, and front office, there are so many question marks around them coming into the, if they start the year 1-7, like, is Brian Daboll still the coach? So I think there's a lot of question marks around what the Giants are going to look like this year. But we know that coaching staff and that front office are walking into a season like on the hot seat. Like it's just they've got to figure out a way to make it look better there. And then, like you said, guys, like, I mean, playing at Philadelphia on Black Friday on a short week, like it's just brutal. It's brutal. And then you play Green Bay twice in 3 weeks. Again, one of those is a Saturday. So there you go. Another short week, hopefully after a win against Cleveland. Like, thank goodness it's Cleveland breaking it up there.
Well, here's the thing. Cleveland's also a team that's given the Bears fits when it's like supposed to be, just Cleveland. Yeah. Myles Garrett terrorized the Bears. Yep. And then Joe Flacco had the comeback like off the couch. So it's not like the Browns are a cupcake W either because the Browns are giving this team trouble. Right.
And then you don't know. I think people imagine that San Francisco is going to have a down year playing there on Sunday Night Football, like the second to last week of the year.
They could be playing for wild card stuff. They could be playing for divisional stuff.
Right. So there's just really no easy thing on this schedule, I would say. I do like that they are ending the season against Detroit at home with, hopefully, we pray, something to play for there, right? Like, or actually, probably best case scenario, it's already locked up. They're in the postseason. Caleb's on the bench and they're resting him. It's like that's who are we kidding? So,
can I go crazy meatball? It's like Impossible brand meatball. Like this is Bizarro World Narrative Nation type stuff here. We were talking about the Bears better go 3-1 heading into that bye because you got the Commanders coming up on Monday night, yada, yada, yada. Last year, the Bears were 4-2 heading into the bye, going into the Commanders game, and everything was great. We're 4-2 heading into the bye. Things are looking up. This is a playoff team. We were talking playoffs. And then what happened? The Fail Mary, an enormous losing streak, season over. What if we do the inverse this year? Tough start. Everybody's thinking Bears got to be 3-1, otherwise they're in trouble. They're 1-3 heading into the bye. Coming out of the bye, Washington Commanders. They flip the switch. They flip the script. They get the win on Monday Night Football, and all of a sudden they turn things around. Are we talking Impossible meatball storylines here? What do you think, Ruthie?
I think there's going to be a lot of PTSD in Washington, and it's going to be a really tough game to win. I mean, the Commanders got better. Like the Commanders were so good last year. They got better. Yeah. I think you wonder what Jaden Daniels is going to look like. Can he continue that trend upward? All signs are pointing toward yes. There's no reason to think that he won't. So I like the meatball attitude there, Alex. And I think that's a good for call into Mully and Haas, see what they have to say about that one. But I think that's going to be a really tough game to win. I love the idea that you have, it's almost the bye week. It's almost like we have 2 weeks to talk about that game and to hype up that game because the bye week. And so there's just going to be so much attention on it. Are you guys thinking about what happened last year? Are you guys talking about it in the locker room? Are you using it as motivation? And they're like, no, the only way we're thinking about it is because you guys remind us all day. That's what the players are going to be saying. So that's going to be a very sort of nauseous 2 weeks, I think, for a lot of people. Good news is the head coach wasn't on the team last year. There's no PTSD for him. This is a fresh start. He's going to have a fresh mindset and hopefully a great way to motivate his players to get ready for that game.
Yeah. Also, great impression of me in the locker room. You sounded just like me asking those questions.
Honestly, I thought it was Alex.
Okay, so I think the one other thing I wanted to touch on, guys, was the number of prime time / only slot, all eyes on the Bears. I mean, they have 5 of those games. There's a lot of intrigue in this team nationally. And there was last year because of Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick. This year, I think it's what can Ben Johnson do for Caleb Williams? And so I think that's going to be really exciting, hopefully, to watch as the country sort of sees the Ben Johnson effect on Caleb Williams, which is what we're all hoping happens.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised there's not more, to be honest. No Thursday night game. And I guess you count the Black Friday game as a Thursday night game, but I figured they'd be on Thursday night, like proper once. And then only one Sunday night game, right? Because they have the Saturday as well. Maybe week 18 gets flexed to prime time if the Bears are still cooking and if the Lions are, going for the 1 seed or the 2 seed or whatever, what have you. So maybe they get that 6 with the flexed week 18. But I kind of thought there would be more. You could think of the Steelers as a primetime game. You could think of the Lions. You said it, Clay. How is this just a regular noon game? Cowboys is the America's game of the week, but you could have seen that been a Thursday night matchup. So 5, it's a lot, especially when some teams get 1 or none. But with this team, with Ben Johnson, with Caleb Williams, I would not have been surprised if there were 6 or something like that.
But they're still taking a gamble, and to me, it's interesting. The NFL is obviously rolling the dice on the Bears here. It's a team we got to remember that went 5-12, and obviously everybody's got high hopes, just like we did last season here. But rolling the dice, people believe that the Bears are going to be a team that everybody wants to see. One other thing that's intriguing to me is starting the season off on a Monday night. I'm not sure that I've ever done that. I wasn't a big fan of Monday night football games. I actually didn't mind the Thursday night games. There's all the stuff about the Thursday night. For me, you go through you get done, you play a Sunday game at noon, and then you play a Thursday game. You got walkthroughs Monday, walkthroughs Tuesdays, walkthrough. You don't even have to practice. It's just walking through all week. I'm just going getting a lift in and hitting the training room and walking through, and then we're playing again. And then we get 10, 11 days off. Loved Thursday night football. It was like another bye week. Play Thursday night football anytime.
Really? I'm surprised.
I loved Thursday night football. Just talking to hearing some of the Bears. I know Cole Kmet. I've heard him several times say he likes Thursday night football games. To me, I never liked Monday night football. He's always felt like it puts you behind for the rest of the week, right? And you obviously, you're at home Monday night to start the season, and now you're going back on Tuesday, and you're gonna have to start your prep to go to Detroit that Tuesday just because you're behind. You don't get that off day. You're a day behind schedule, and just NFL players are creatures of routine and creatures of habit, and that's something that's a little scary. Throwing your routine off a little bit. You have to wait all week, to get on the field. You're watching these other teams play, and then you're the last horse in the stable, and then you finally get a chance to go out there. So that's interesting. I don't know how to look at that one. I think it's exciting, but as a player, I'd be like, I would rather play it as to start the season at a Sunday game at noon. But that was just something else that caught my eye.
Yeah,
Clay, I have a question for you in regards to that. Is there any silver lining that it is the first week, if you think about it, since it's like your routine isn't set yet? rather than like having it week 2 or week 3 where it's like, oh, you just started your routine and now you're throwing it off? Is there anything to, okay, your game routine isn't quite set because we're just starting, and then you just get it out of the way and you move on?
Yeah, and you got an early bye week, right? So having the bye week 5 is, I mean, I've never had it that early in my career. So it's kind of like you got 4 games here. One of them's on a Monday. Then we got 3 actual games that are going to be normal Sunday games. And then we're on a bye week. And, you know, we get that week off. We come back and we do it all again. So that's interesting. So I like where the bye week is in the case because it's kind of a new coaching staff, right? Let's see what works, what doesn't.
Great
now
point.
We're going to get to do the self-scout. What does this team do well? Instead of maybe you go through 8 games, 9 games, 10, you have a late bye, and it's like you're trying to figure out exactly who you are, what you're doing. But now if you do start slow, let's stop the bleeding here. Okay, we're 1-3. What have we done well in offense? What have we done well in defense? Who's playing our best in this new system? Who do we utilize in this space? So for me, I do kind of like that early bye because for a new group coming together, you're going to get that chance to do that elaborate self-scout because you're not just prepping for the game earlier in the season.
That's a great point, Clay. I had not thought of that as sort of like, okay, things maybe didn't go the way we wanted them to. Let's take a breather. Let's dial it back. We can sort of like rethink what we want to do, what we don't want to do. I hadn't thought of it that way. It's to have an early bye week for a new coaching staff. That's probably a great thing. The one thing though, is that then there's no Thursday night game to sort of give you that mini bye week towards the end of the season. I guess you do sort of have that. You've the Black Friday game, which will give you a long week 13. And then also looking at it, you have week 16, this Saturday game against Green Bay at home. And then you don't play till Sunday night the following week. So you sort of have 2 long weeks sprinkled in there. It's not a real mini bye necessarily, but it's close to it.
All right. It's not like years past they've had the mini bye where it was like Thursday to Monday, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a true mini bye. Oh, well, you know what? It is what it is, and they'll make do.
Let's do it, guys. Let's give our predictions. You don't have to go. I don't want to go game by game, but just sort of as we look at sort of those chunks of the season, how do you see things sort of faring? And what is your initial subject to change? Okay. But just sort of looking at the schedule, what is your record prediction, Alex?
Let the good times cruise at the Crosstown Classic with Sun Cruiser and CHSN, May 16th to the 18th. CHSN is rolling into Wrigleyville, so don't miss your chance to win free prizes and enjoy ice-cold Sun Cruisers. Follow Sun Cruiser and CHSN now to find out where we'll be before first pitch.
Okay. I'm going to zig because I'm going to, because this is nonsense anyways. I'm going to go with my impossible meatball. And I'm sure we'll go game by game down the road. But I'm going to go my impossible meatball for right now, which is slow start to the season, 1-3, bye week reset. Clay just said it. They did this self-scouting. They realized, oh, we actually got to use Roschon Johnson more on the first down. We got to give him more series. There's something here, yada, yada, yada. We're going to make a move in our wide receivers room, and we're actually going to go more 11 and 12. The self-scouting works great. And all of a sudden, the Bears start winning football games, but they do hit the really tough stuff towards the back end of the year. They have a few hiccups. They start to fall off, and the Bears end the season just missing the playoffs at 8-9.
Damn. Okay, Alex, that's depressing. No,
Sorry.
It's fine. I think that's realistic. I'll go second here. I think I like your way of going through quarters here, and obviously there's not 16 games anymore, but do 4 at a time. But before the bye, Vikings, Lions, Cowboys, Raiders. I'm gonna go 2-2 here. Going into the bye week, 2-2. Okay, now we get to see what works, what didn't. Let's come out. You know, we got the Commanders, Saints, Ravens, Bengals. Whew. That's tough. You know, maybe you go 1-3 there, come back with the Giants, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Eagles. you got to take a couple of those. Steelers, Vikings, Giants, maybe go 3-1 there. Packers, Browns, Packers, 49ers, Lions to end the season. I think by that point in the season, I expect Christian McCaffrey to be injured. I don't think they're going to be playing against him. I'm sorry. He's probably out at that point. Packers, interesting. 2 times in 3 weeks. I don't know how to feel about that. I've done that before. It's you get really familiar with the team. Those are just grudge matches. You're not really tricking these guys. They know it's coming. You know it's coming. It's going to be a battle. You got the LaFleur Johnson angle here too. I enjoyed beating them twice a year last season, but I think the Bears can pull out 3 of the last 5 and go 9-8. But still,
you gave me all this trouble about being so down on him. You only have one more win, Clay.
That's a big win. That's a big win, Alex. 9-8 Bears, maybe just missing the playoffs, but I think you have something to play for going into that last game against the Lions at Soldier Field. Ben Johnson, former head coach. Lions come into Chicago. Bears win, maybe they're in. If they lose, they're done. This sounds fun to me. I think it's destiny.
Clay, I have a similar approach to you. I think for the Bears to feel confident, for the players to feel confident at the bye week, they need to go 2-2 before they go into the bye. And then you sort of have some momentum. Hopefully you win that game at Vegas. And then you're sitting there like, okay, we're feeling good. Things are working. Here's how we can fine tune everything in the bye week. Let's go to Washington and revenge ourselves from last year and erase that memory. I couldn't go game by game. I don't really see them winning that game at Washington, with all that being said. But I need you to win all your home games at the end of the year there. And I need you to beat Green Bay twice, because Ben Johnson said in his press conference, I enjoy beating the flower, and he's going to get absolutely destroyed if he doesn't do it. So I very generously, this is about the most generous I could be with my schedule prediction. I have them at 9-8. And that is, need I say it again? Generous. Okay.
Hey, it's the beginning of Good Vibes summer. Be generous.
Be generous. They haven't even they haven't even started running plays yet. Like, they don't even know what they're doing.
Haven't done OTAs yet, but
yeah.
Hey, right.
We're going 9-8, man. We believe in Ben. We believe in the staff.
I do believe in them.
Everybody wanted. He's the guy that I think can really change things. And obviously, we got to see what happens with Caleb Williams. It's going to be a long year of us going to OTAs, checking out OTAs. We're going to be at training camps. We're going to be seeing how this team looks. And obviously, once you do that, you're going to have a better idea of what this team does well after you see them practice. How do they gel? How are they using this running backs room? How are they utilizing all these weapons? Is there a good plan there? So it'll be interesting, and we're definitely going to get a better sense of things here. But you got to realize Ben Johnson was the most coveted coach in the last 2-3 years for a reason. There's a reason he was that coveted. People aren't crazy to think that. He took himself off of coaching lists. That's why he was still there. So I think that you got to have faith there that Ben Johnson is the right guy. Caleb Williams is the number 1 overall pick for a reason. He's got some improving to do, but there was a reason he was that guy. And I think Ben can get the most out of him. And it's going to be sweet when the Commanders think they ruined our season with that Hail Mary. The whole reason we got Ben Johnson, thank you, was that Hail Mary right there. And now it's time to get our revenge.
That's a great point.
After your hype up speech, Clay, I'm going up to 9 wins. I'm joining the squad. I'm at 9. You gave me an extra win bump with your little hype up speech.
9-win Chicago Bears. We are unified.
I do think the thing I am most excited about heading into 2025 is Ben Johnson. Like, I'm surprised at myself, because I was sort of like team, like, when they were going through the coaching search, I'm like, we don't know what this guy's like in front of a room. You know, is he sort of just like, you know, I was getting a little bit of like Mike McDaniel vibes, like offense only. Like, is he going to be relatable to the players? This defense needs to be able to. I am very surprised by Ben Johnson and sort of the buy-in from both sides of the ball early, and just the way that he communicates with us, the media. He's so intense. He's so passionate. He's a little like, gives me like cuckoo crazy, like football coach vibes, which I love. And I really believe in him. I believe in the coaching staff he put together. I believe in the mentality of like, what was it that, Jalen Johnson kind of told us about their first team meeting? It was like, we want to dominate. We don't want to just win. We don't want to scathe by. Like, we want to dominate. And I just think that's a new sort of unique perspective for a football team that's sort of like played in the margins and like learned how to win in the margins. Like now they're going out there to dominate. And I think that's exciting. And I'm all in. I'm bought in.
Chips are in the middle.
All in. Love it. Great stuff, guys. We're obviously going to have plenty of time to continue to dissect this. But good stuff. Schedule reveal. It kind of feels real, right? Like football's upon us. It's like goosebumps, butterflies, all the things. So great stuff, Alex and Clay. Clay, we're going to talk about this on the Big Pro Football Show today and tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. So make sure you tune in. And OTAs next week. Here we go. Buckle up, everyone. It's fun. Thanks so much for listening to the Charter Podcast brought to you by St. Xavier University. Clay Harbor, Alex Shapiro. I'm Ruthie Polinsky. We'll see you next time.